Hey, this is Priyansh, and this is a submission that I have made. So the brief was to build like a full stack dashboard that generates hyper personalized cold outreach messages, handles replies with contextual follow-ups, and gives the user a simple analytics view. So I'll walk out through the live app first, then we can see the code base, and I'll then explain the AI integration, the auth, and all of this. So quick heads up on the tech stack. Like the brief mentioned Next.js and TanStack start, but I have gone with Next.js and a TypeScript for the language, the backend, and the Postgres with Drizzle ORM with NeonDB as our database, and OpenRouter for the AI thing, and BetterAuth for the authentication. So I'll explain why when we get to the code. So this is the landing page of my application. Outreach that sounds like a personal person wrote it. Drop a prospect's GitHub portfolio or LinkedIn screenshot and pick your offering. Okay, so this is like how it works. You define your offering, set your voice, and add a prospect, and you can generate the follow up. Why it works and stop sending. This is the CTA section. Now let's start free. Now let's create an account first. Let's put my name here itself, and let's put the email as Naran2308, and let's put the password as 12345678. So I have used Zod validation as well for here for the password verification. As you can see, everything is responsive. Okay, now let's create the account. Now let's wait for this. I hope it should be created. Yes, it's created because we are using NeonDB, right? So in NeonDB the server should be active. That then only like it can be created. Let's click on this assignment. It's active as of now, and in the tables you can see what all tables do we have. So as you can see the tables, we have account, the conversation. I'll come back to this later. So as you can see in the account section, for the user section, this new email has been added. So what happens is the whole landing page was a server component. So it calls the get session as well, because if the user is logged in, on the top he should see the offerings button instead of the sign in sign up button, to know that okay, the user is active as of now. So for that we have used get session. So I have been logged in, and now new row has been added. Notice the sidebar now. It includes offerings, prompts, prospects, conversations, and analytics. That's the whole app. It's everything is responsive. We even have the sidebar here. Okay, we even have the sign out button here. We'll come back to that later. Now this is the offerings part. What you are reaching out about. Pick one when generating a message. Let's create our first offering. It goes to /offerings/new. We'll come to the code base later on. Now see, we have an AI inline as well. See, what is offering? Your offering is the core value you bring to a prospect. Now in the brief it was written it should be an AI part, but I have hard coded this part to protect my API key, because this need not to be changed every time, right? So that's why your offering is a core value you bring to a prospect. It captures what you do, what do you sell to, the problem you solve. So better defined offerings produce sharper messages. The AI uses this as the why we are reaching out backbone as well. So you can paste a URL and we'll scrape it. That is, I can even add a URL here, or else I can even like add my custom URL as well. So let's add a URL. We'll add Kakio itself. Now let's open this. So let's add Kakio itself, https kakio.com. So it's written, we'll fetch the page and add it to the content below. You can edit afterwards. So what's happening is, let's click on scrape. Now let's wait for this. So it just hit Firecrawl. It's the API returns clean markdown for any URL, and it like saves me from like building scraping infrastructure instead of that. So as you can see, the name and the content have been automatically filled. That is how I have implemented in the code base. So now I can even edit on top of this. See, it's editable. You can edit it. Let's in the end itself, let's add in the content area itself. Let's add this part, which is built by one founder, focus on solo operators who do all their outreach. We are early, that's the pitch. This everything is done by Firecrawl. And what had happened is it was generating / things as well, and this tags as well. So what I did, I wrote a custom parsing logic for that. So instead of that / thing, all rubbish isn't coming. So it's quite excellent, right? This is the implementation plan that I thought, because it would look the code base quite bad, and the output of by AI would also be like, it can hallucinate because of that. So see, the output came here. Okay, as you can see, the whole output came, and I added content in the text area. Now I already told about this, what is an offering, right? Let's skip that. Now Now, why did I did that? Because I made the call to use static copy instead of a live AI call to reduce the API budget. Let's click on create offering. Now let's wait for this. Let's wait for this. A toast will come as offering created. Okay, now it has been added. Now if I reload the page, as you can see, it will stay constant because it's stored in the database as well. If you go here and in the offerings part, see, where is that cargo? This is the second time I am doing this. That's why you can even edit it. Let's go to the edit page. At the top, you can see a particular ID has been assigned to it. So each and every offering will have an ID. Okay, now click save changes. Okay, let's wait for this. It's rendering because it's using Next.js 16. You can even delete it. It asks if you want to delete. We'll not delete it right now. Okay, now this has come. Now let's create a new offering, and instead of this, we can leave the URL as blank, and in the name we can type outbound for designers. Okay, and the content we can write a one if it's there. Yes, it's there. Let's click on this. It's like this top part as well. So a one-to-one service helping freelance product designers land 2 to 3 retainer clients per quarter via personalized cold outreach. We do the writing and you stay in the craft. So this is everything done. Now I can even do the manual offerings as well. Let me click create offering. Okay, now let's wait for this. The offering has been created. As you can see, the offering has been created and I can even edit it. Okay, so the list is now showing both of them. Okay, you can pick one when generating a message. Now let's click on the prompts part. Let's wait. It's rendering. Okay, now there's already a default prompt here. I auto seed the one on first visit, so the user can generate a message immediately without having to write a prompt from scratch, right? You can even edit it. It's a default prompt. If I click on edit, see, you're writing a short cold reach message, avoid buzzwords and all of that. You can set as default. Let's click on save changes. Now even though I'm gonna make a new prompt itself, let's wait for the toast to go. Now let's click on new prompt. Now see, here also you have what is a prompt. Define how the AI should write, tone, length, what to emphasize and what to avoid. Your prompt is a set of instructions you give the AI. Before it writes anything, it controls tones. Think of it as a briefing a copywriter. Save multiple prompts if you reach out in different voices. So it's quite useful for that. Now let's give the founder voice as conversational founder voice. And the prompt body, we can add it as this itself. I'm sorry, this part. See, tone is conversational, like a quick LinkedIn DM, length under 100 words, lead with one specific about the prospect, not too hard, CT, avoid buzzwords, output only the message text, no preamble, no quotation marks, sent verbatim as the AI system message. As it was given automatically, it adds that itself. Now the prompt body is sent to the AI as a system message. It's like from byte for byte. So we don't like wrap it, like it appends its own instructions itself. Now let's click on set as default itself. Okay, it will be set as default. Like at the database level, there's a partial unique index that enforces at most one default prompt per user. So toggling this on automatically clears the previous default. Let's create the prompt. I'll show that in the code later as we go on. See, now this has been set as default. Now you can make this default as well. If I click on this, it's rendering. Now that becomes the default. See, this becomes the default. But I'll make this as default as of now. Now this has been saved. Now let's move on to prospects. This was regarding the prompt instruction sent verbatim. Let's click on prospects. Prospects are where the assignment got interesting. The brief said that the input should be flexible. Any combination of GitHub URL personal site works. People you are reaching out to, say once, reuse across offerings. No prospect sets. Let's click on this and let's put the name as Linus Torvalds itself. I guess you know who Linus Torvalds is. Then for the GitHub URL, we'll use his GitHub URL itself. Okay. Now personal site, let's put as like, let's leave it blank. It's not compulsory it should be. We can add JSON long, which is like a portfolio of a person I found out. And then the company website is this. And then additional URLs, what we can add is the Wikipedia of Linus Torvalds. Let's click on this. Let's avoid white spaces. Now see, in LinkedIn screenshots, let's add my screenshot itself. Now this is my personal LinkedIn screenshot and this image is being stored in Vercel's Blob. Now if I click on this, Now if I visit this, see blob.vercel.storage. So it's using that prospect screenshots as the name. So this is my LinkedIn, that is it. Okay, we'll read the image and extract profile, you can verify. And in the notes part, what we can add in the notes part is like recently posted about CI build times being too slow on large mono repos, active on Mastodon. Mastodon is like a social media platform. Okay, this is like a free form context the user has but couldn't capture as a URL. So I caught a bug in my own audit where notes were being stored on the row, but I never it was never reaching the AI itself. So I had fixed that. Now let's click on save prospects. Let's wait for this. Now it's running the extraction. Each URL hits Firecrawl independently. The screenshot hits OpenRouter's vision model. Then each input has its own status row in the database. So if one fails, the others still succeed. Now see, 2 columns we got, one for the raw inputs and one for the extracted context. So left you have every raw input with its status bill. This is okay, it worked, it had scraped, but look at this, there might be an error. Let's wait what error we got. So I guess we got some error in this OpenRouter message, no endpoints found that support image input. So this is the error that we got. Earlier I was getting it as correct. Let's retry it once again. See, in this prospect, Linus Torvalds based on 3 inputs plus user nodes. So this is what the summary. Retried, context updated. So user nodes is this, source is this. So this is all the prospects that I have added. Okay, let's earlier it was working. I have no idea why it's not working right now. Is it some API issue or anything error? Just a second, I'll test it. Let's retry this. Let's wait for this. Okay, it's coming though. Okay, I'm sorry for that, but earlier it was coming. 404, no endpoints found that support image input. So is it some model issue? I'm using NVIDIA's free model, Google Llama. Okay, I guess something issue is there, but it was working earlier. Now if I like go to the prospect page once again, I'll see the prospects. So you can like Linus Torvalds based on 3 inputs plus user nodes. So I can even like visit that. Okay, now let's click on conversations. So this is the conversations you can generate outreach threads, open one to add a reply or generate a follow-up. So let's click on start a conversation. What I can do, we can pick the prospect, we can pick the offering as well. Now in the prospect, let's click Linus Torvalds itself, and in the offering, let's click the Kakio one. Okay, because the output was coming nice. And prompt, let's use this conversational founder voice. So everything is linked. So let's click on generate message. What will this do is it will send a single OpenRouter call. Then the system message is my prompt body verbatim. So the user message is a structured block, which is the offering name and the content. So the AI gets everything it needs in one shot. Let's click on generate message. Now let's wait for this. The API should not exhaust. It was working earlier, that's why. Wait till the message card appears. If you'll notice, it's actually using the prospect specific facts itself. So what the prospect actually does and not generic like thing. Let's wait for this. It takes around like 30 seconds for that. Let's wait. So it's under the word count, like my prompts. If we go inside this prompts and message part, see, we got the output, I guess. Yes, message has been generated. Hey Linus, saw your recent note about CI build times. As I messaged there, right? CI build times dragging on large mono repos. That's a real pain point for scaling teams. Kakio runs personalized LinkedIn conversation at scales. Curious how you're currently tackling those build time bottlenecks. So everything is happening in real time. So this is using the free tier of OpenRouter. If I wanted better message quality, I had to use paid model, which is the Claude Sonnet model. So see, the message has been generated. Now if I click on these 3 dots, you can see the copy, the regenerate, favorite and rate. Now if I click on copy, it's actually being copied. See, it's copied. Now the next part is I can even favorite it. Let's wait for this. The heart icon will appear here. See, the heart icon is appeared, and I can even unfavorite, or I can even give the rating as well. Let's give it 5-star rating. Now see, if I click on regenerate, a dialog opens. Now if I type make it shorter and more direct, end with a calendar link instead of a question. Okay, let's regenerate. Let's wait for this now. We get a different output, and the new one actually references the calendar link, and the older one had added ended with a question, right? So this customization is affecting the output as well. Let's wait for this once. If we go to the prompt part, I guess this was. Let's wait for this. See, it has regenerated. Now see, hey Linus, saw your recent Mastodon note about CI build. Now what has happened here, I am using the Gemini's free model, right? That's why the content has not been reduced that much. If I had used a paid model, the output would have come quite nicely and in a shorter format as well. You can even see these all here as well. Now let's paste the prospects reply, which is my reply. Let's copy this itself. Interesting, how does it actually work? Does it need my LinkedIn account? Let's click on add reply. Now let's wait for this. Now see, my prospect has been added. Now I can generate the follow-up. Let's click on generate follow-up. It was disabled until there was at least one reply. Now see, it directly addresses the questions about the LinkedIn access. It stays in the same tone. Let's wait for it to come here. Let's wait. It's formatted by timestamp and everything else as well. So you can do this multiple times. Paste another reply, it will generate a follow-up. So you can chat based on the prospects and prompts and offerings, everything that you have given to that. So let's wait for this, then we'll move on to the analytics part. Let's wait. It takes a lot of time because it's using a free model, right? Now see, you mentioned CI build times dragging. That's a real headache. Kakio runs in a secure cloud-based session that logs to the LinkedIn via Auth, which simulates human typing and mouse movements. Does that clear up how it works, or would you like a quick walkthrough? So it gives the walkthrough as well. So everything is connected with Kakio and everything is working. See, initial message, then it shows here follow-up message. See, follow-up message is coming. Earlier this was the initial message. It gave the calendar link as well of Calendly. I don't know what is this Calendly part. Why did it give Calendly? But I guess yes, it's working though. You can then again add reply. Then now if I go to the conversations, you can track your conversations as well. Here it will show reply box, reply button. See, you have to reply. You are the Linus Torvalds, which is you are the prospect. You can continue the chat. Yes, see, so it's working. Now let's move on to the analytics. It's simple but it's accurate. Total messages generated, 3 messages were generated, 1 prospect saved, conversations with reply, I only replied once, and 2 offerings have been made, one for the Kakio and one for the outreach part that I showed. It also shows a graph as well. So this all counts are the live SQL queries, no caching and no hard-coded data. The brief said analytics should be accurate. So this is accurate. See, for Kakio it has 3, but for outreach nothing has happened, right? Because I didn't chat using that. Everything is being added in the database. The prompts, then the prospects inputs as well. See, the GitHub, LinkedIn screenshot, everything, right? The prospects, Linus Torvalds. Earlier I checked with Sarah Chen. Then there's one more for offerings as well. See, Kakio, then outbound for designers. Source URL I didn't add because it was empty. So everything is working in real time. Okay, now so this was the whole I implemented, and everything is working fine. Just the LinkedIn screenshot, I have no idea why didn't it work. I'll surely look into that. I guess there's some issue because earlier it was working. I was getting the proper outputs as well. Okay, we'll look into that. Now let's switch on to the code base and let's analyze the code base now. So see, this is the whole code base. So this is the project structure, as you can see. SRC, Then inside app we have authentication for sign in and sign up. Then for dashboard, inside this is a curly routes. That means these cannot be counted as a routes because it's used in, I forgot the name, what is it called, but these are not the routes. These are the routes because it's Next.js, right? And if you look inside API, this is called as catch all route. So everything inside that should be considered as an API route. So app router is under app, components are under the components. Then inside the lib we have everything, the database logic and all of that. So auth is like for the like better auth wiring. Then DB is for the Drizzle ORM and all of that. AI is for the OpenRouter client. Scrape is for the Firecrawl logic. Then blob is for the Vercel Blob, like it will be saved there. And server actions are there, every mutation, and validations, which is a Zod schema, and the env.ts, which is just like connecting the .env.example I'll show you. Database, better auth, OpenRouter, Firecrawl, blob rate. I cannot show the .env.local. So this is the whole thing. Okay, now this is the kind of layout I would like actually want to grow on. Okay, it has its own data access layer file and its own validation files. So I'll come back to that. So env.ts already we saw it, like it's consisting import server only, like that's like the runtime guard for the server only package. None of these values like should reach the browser bundle. Then if we go inside schema.ts, this is the whole schema that we have. Now if I go to the client, this is connecting the Drizzle ORM with HTTP and connecting our database URL. We have in the queries, we have first we'll see the tables. See the user table, it will have ID, name, email. Then the session table, inside the auth itself, everything is done by better auth itself. Better auth provides these, all of that. Then verifications as well, whether it's verified or not. Then offerings table, correct, name, source URL, content created at, then prompts table. See, user author prompts that are sent. I generated this using AI because I was having an error in this. So prompts table it creates, then prospect inputs, then prospects, like you will have the GitHub URL, website URL, company, LinkedIn screenshot as well, and text as LinkedIn screenshot, extracted context, what did it extract from that particular prospect, then thread entries as well, each and every chat that we are doing with AI. Okay, now inside this you can see index is also there. I'll come back to that, what index is. Then we have threads table as well, prospect ID, offering ID, because it's foreign key, right? So it has to link with the prospect and the offering as well, and the prompt as well. So that's why it's using this index, so that we only fetch this particular thing itself and not everything. So if I go to libdb tables and inside auth itself, prompts itself, you can see this partial unique index. What is this is, it lets you like put a where clause on a unique index itself. So this enforces at most like one default prompt per user at the database level, not in the app code. So this was the important decision that I took, which is quite important decision. And inside the prospects as well, you can see what you see, where extracted context, I guess. And yeah, so extracted context, see this, we are using type as extracted context, so it stores the merged AI friendly view of everything we extracted. So I went with the JSON-B instead of like normalizing every field, which is quite useful. So this was the part, and then we have prospect inputs as well. This is like the per input table. Every URL or screenshot the user attaches gets its own row with type, value, status and everything, and error message as well. Error message also comes, so everything is working. It has a prospect index as well, so that we fetch only that particular prospect ID itself. Then we have conversation threads that I told. It's kind of an enum type because we are like choosing which thread to choose on as of now. So I like deliberately did not split these into 3 tables. So reading a thread chronologically is like one sorted select itself. So it's like the cost reduces as well. So this was the part. We even have the parent entry ID as well. See, parent foreign key, and inside the threads we can use the enum as well. Are we messaging, are we replying, or whether it's a follow-up question. So everything adds in the database itself. So now if I go to the queries part, this is the queries part. Okay, So the data access layer files are like server only. So every function takes the user ID as the first argument, and every query filters by it. So there's no version of like get offerings that doesn't require a user ID. So that's deliberate, right? So first file, let's move on to offerings.ts itself. So you have this get offerings function. You put a SQL query, like you select then from offerings table where the user ID has been matched, and in a decreasing order itself, so that every new user comes at new offering comes at the top itself. Okay, now if you go just a second, if you look up the offering ID ABC and the offering belongs to a different user, this returns null, same as if the offeree doesn't like exist. So this is the cross user requests I have taken care into, like get offering by that particular ID and get offering by IDs if you want to fetch multiple offerings itself. I told, right? See, return row, if it's not there then you just return is null. So the next is the threads part. Inside this also the same thing happens. I used the threads data access layer because the get threads joins prospect plus offering for display. So this function, it uses the user ID, it uses the prospect name as well as the offering name, because we need to link both of them, right? So it uses joins of SQL because we don't need each and everything, right? We only need particular part itself, like particular conversation itself. So that's why we are using this, or like I'm using this. And this was the part. Okay, now same happens with the prospect as well. Getting prospects, get prospect, everything is happening in the same fashion itself. So for saving time, I had used AI for that. And see this prompt part, get prompt, get default prompt. Now see, for the default prompt I showed right here, inside this there's a default prompt, this part, this is what I had, like seed prompts body automatically show this as default itself. Then we have offerings and for analytics, like get the analytics, how many messages have been done so far. You like fetch it from the database itself. Per offerings rows, like capture the offering ID, offering name, and message count as well. How many messages have been like conversed so far. Then if you go to lib auth and in the server.ts, so this uses obviously better auth as we were told. With the Drizzle ORM, minimum password length is there of 8. Okay, then auto sign in is true. After registering, it automatically goes to the offerings page instead of the login page. So the next cookies plugin also I have used here, which like it bridges better auth set cookie response headers into next cookies, stores on the like server actions as well, and use plural true as well. So it exports plural names such as user sessions, so multiple users are there, right? So for that I had used it. And yes, this was the part of the authentication. I have also implemented proxy.ts as well, such that if a user is logged in, he cannot visit the sign in and sign up pages. He can visit the landing page, but he cannot visit the sign in sign up. So I have checked it, like if the user is signed in and path name is / he can visit that. But if the user is not signed in, he should automatically be redirected to the sign in page. So this is what is middleware I have like implemented here. So now this was the part of the database logic. I'll come back to the server actions later. Inside I have also implemented test for testing purposes. So in the validation, this is a Zod validation that I had done, like z.string, the URL should be a string, it should be a valid URL, then add some context, and everything is like in real time using Zod validation, then for prompts as well and for prospects as well. Okay, this is the util for the chat scene. Now for the scrape logic, the Firecrawl function that it goes to this particular endpoint. Now see the parsing logic that I told, like it gives //slice. So for this I had used AI obviously for like cleaning and like parsing this particular thing, because I cannot like remember everything, right? So that's why it has been cleaned, and the output comes as a markdown format as we know. So Firecrawl returned an unsuccessful error part. So this is all done. Now if you go to the server actions, see the offering server actions, like scrape offering from the URL, you parse it using that particular schema from the Zod validation, and return the output. If it's error, you give it as invalid URL, and if the result is there, you go give the result itself. Then create offering, it should automatically be added to the database itself. You need the user ID first for creating offering, right, for that particular user itself. Then update offering, there was an edit option, right? So you can edit it. if it's already existing, then fetch that particular then you have to fetch that particular offering by that particular ID itself for the particular user ID, right? So that's why you can update it, db.update that offerings table, name content updated at. Then what revalidate path does is this like it's like a caching purpose. Like if this is success, then you automatically goes to the offerings slash ID. Then you have the delete offering, automatically you can delete. For prompts part as well, the same things happen. Like you can, user has any prompt, the default prompt that I talked about, you can make it as a default prompt by that button. Everything is then connected to the front end, like the UI purpose. Then you can create prompt and then parsing, same logic happens. Like you can then update prompt. So I guess this is like quite easy, like to understand and implement it as well. Basic SQL queries only we are adding here. Then you update it and revalidate prompt, then set the default prompt as well in the database as well. Then you can delete the prompt. So await delete. If existing is default, then what if I delete the prompt that is default? So what happens is that becomes, that deletes, and the other prompt that is the default prompt is there, that becomes the default prompt. You understand, right? So this is the logic that is implemented here. Dot select that particular prompt ID and you make it as the default prompt if the default prompt is being deleted. I guess that's understandable. And the last part is threads. This is a bigger logic because we need to find out. So this is, I used AI for like implementation of this. You have to generate the message, then extract that particular context, then get offerings by ID, that particular ID, because we need to like note it down, right? So fallback notes. I also, this is an implementation plan in my thing. Like I have implemented fallback things as well, so that if the API key exhausts or something bad happens, it can automatically fall back to the part. Then build message, then the models dot generation. Now this models, as you can see, I have for generation, for vision, and for fallback. Oh, okay, that's why I think some error. I guess the model I changed for testing purpose for the vision part. I guess that's why the LinkedIn URL didn't work properly. Then you have to persist a thread, that particular, then entry, the new entry that comes, you have to insert in the thread entries, that is the table. Then revalidate path, then add the reply schema with the thread ID and that particular content that you had added. The content should be minimum of 1 length, right? Then you have to add the reply, then get that particular thread. I cannot like explain the whole code, right, because that would like increase the length of the video. I'll explain if we meet in the meeting itself. Like await get thread, then prompt, then build a follow-up request, and then regenerate the entry schema as well. You can like, there was a button for regenerating, right? So this is the part that is being used here. Then messages, then everything. So it's const created, rate entry, and then like toggle favorite schema as well. So this was the whole thing that I've implemented for the threads part, because when we click the 3 dots, a lot of things comes, right? So this is the part. Then the blobs is okay. This is for the prospect screenshots for the Vercel Blob. Then validation is done. Okay, this part is done. Okay, the lib part is done. I hope you understand everything in this. The AI part also has it, like extraction, then models which use, and the OpenRouter part, it goes to the OpenRouter's endpoint and the API key. I have OpenRouter API key. Then we have prompts as well, I showed earlier, the explainer, follow prompts, then message and vision extract as well. URL information extraction, so it like analyzes the image. Okay, so the hooks is okay, let's leave it. Now let's move on to the app. Okay, so this is the API route for the better auth. Okay, I guess it's understandable. This is the main landing page generated by AI, obvious. Then the layout part, the metadata tags, and the toaster as well. I was using Poppins font and global CSS. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to auth, sign in. Okay, this uses the better auth, it connects better auth. Okay, now if you use better auth, yeah, you're connecting with the client, right? So sign in from the client you are getting. Okay, let's fix this once. Okay, welcome back. The same for the sign up is happening. We are fetching from what do you say, where is it, from the client, correct? Then layout for that, like back to home and all of that. So this was the auth part. Now if I go to the dashboard and go to the layout, see the layout, because we had a sidebar, right? Now look at the session part. Const session await get session from the server itself, from better auth. And if there is no session, then automatically redirect to the auth pages. Then we have sidebar and mobile navigation as well for the sidebar that was opening. Okay, so this is done. I told you regarding the OpenRouter vision and all of that. Okay, now if you go to the follow-up prompt, just a second, this prompts and follow-up, so it's like follow-up assembler, so same verbatim system prompt. Okay, write the next follow-up message from you responding to the most recent prospect reply, say in the same tone and continue the conversation. We can modify this prompt to output it more better. I'll surely do that once I finish checking it, but as of now it was working. Like you sent X, prospect replied Y, and you followed up Z, so prospect replied W. Now write the next follow-up. So that's why follow-ups feel like a continuation, so they have the whole context itself. Then extract and then threads. I told you everything. So okay, now this was the whole part of these code base. Now if I go to the thread view, this thread view part, you can see the thread is empty because I have not added anything. The entry actions drop down comes, like you can copy, regenerate with optional tone, like write. So reply entries get only copy and delete since rating is an AI generated message, right? So this was the whole code base, and the next thing is everything is the UI part, which is like connected with the database. Database logic was quite important in this. The entry card, the UI part mostly I did using AI because AI was encouraged. Then entry actions as well, follow up button. Okay, then navigation bar that I have made for the sidebar, then sign out button. Then forms, which is like connecting the Zord validations that we have added in validations, right? So see, it's all getting the server actions as well, and I guess it also gets the validations as well. Okay, inside the create offering itself we link the validations. Okay, fine, so this works. Then we have analytics. Okay, this is just the analytics part. Then conversations, for that particular thread ID it should show the prospect name and offering name as well. Then for creating a new thread, new conversation form, like the drop down comes, right? So this is this part. Then page dot like tsx for creating a new conversation, and this is for the conversations part. Like for the time ago, for the conversation it should show, right? So timestamps also it shows. Then you can start a new conversation. So this was the whole conversation part. Then you have offerings, you can create a new offering. Then you have the offering for that particular ID. I showed it in the UI, I guess. Okay, then we have same for prompts and prospects as well. So this is understandable, I guess, like retry input button as well. For the LinkedIn screenshot it was not working, right? I'll check into that, why was that not working. Then you have this edit prospect page as well. It uses get session and get prospect with inputs as well. So this was the whole application. Now just a last part, I'll go into the readme. See, in the next config also we have this blob because it will show an error then. And this is my package JSON, what all libraries I used. I used Drizzle as obviously. Then I even have Vitest testing part just for the testing purposes, because if I write here in the new terminal itself npm run tests, okay, test, so it's passing obvious. Okay, now let's move on to the readme part. I'll show you this is the basic readme, what features it has, the text tag, the local setup, environment variables, and the code, like the folder structure. Or see the architecture decisions. Single thread entries table, JSON B I told, the data access layer never accepts user ID. Then free OpenRouter model as well. Then 2-layer auth that I told, like a proxy.ts for the validations, and inline explainer. I didn't use AI for that because I can hardcode that, right? Because I don't need new entries again and again. Now if we look at the trade-offs, see thread storage, I guess it's not visible here, we'll go to here itself. See the thread storage, single thread entries table versus 3 tables. So this was quite better thing I did. Then prospect context as well, JSON B. Then analytics, on-demand SQL itself, Postgres SQL which I used. Inline explanations, default prompt, cross user isolation, like data access layer never accepts user ID. Persists, the free gamma model I used instead of the paid models, even though the output was coming quite nicely. What I would do differently is like streaming generation, server side encryption, like so tokens appear as they arrive instead of one blocking response. I thought of doing this, but like it was becoming quite complex. That's why I didn't like focus more on this. email notifications ping the user when a follow-up is generated, so they remember to actually send it from the real client. Paid model, if we can use. Now see the examples part. See what had happened for testing purpose itself. I had give the offering the prompt what I gave and the details. Hey Priyansh, saw a recent update, and follow up second as well. And for regeneration as well, make it shorter, so it gave the calendar as well, and the deployment part. So this is the whole, this is the deployed part, but I was showing in the local itself. Now let's move on to the slash itself. I'm sorry. That's it. So that's it. The repo is at the GitHub, and the deployed app I've already given. So the free tier of OpenRouter has like rate limits. So if I hit a 429 in your testing, my code fallbacks to a second free model automatically. So everything is modified and it's like taken into care, and everything is responsive if you take into note. Like everything works pretty well. You can edit it as well. So I documented the like model swap to paid writer, paid tire as one line change in my readme itself. So yeah, so this was the whole application. I have shown everything. We have the drizzle as well, like the SQL that is generated for the tables part in the database. So yeah, authentication dashboard, the prompts components, everything, prompt row itself. Like if the prompt has been deleted, show a toast message. So make it as default. Then you can like also, if I go to the prompts part itself, you can delete the prompt as well. Correct. Let's delete the default one. Yeah, we can delete it. The analytics part, the conversations. Okay. So yeah, so I can even reply it once again. Let's sign out. Yeah, we are back to the signing page. So this was the whole application. Thanks for watching. Looking forward for your feedback, and I hope everything has been covered what was required. Thank you.